It's interesting because Spirit wants me, like earlier tonight, I did a reading and I mentioned 9/11 because that was the time on my clock. And I talked about how 9/11, we all know in the United States and around the world, like that was the Twin Towers and all of this. I was in eighth grade. It was a very scary time for a lot of us, right? And then after that was an economic recession, right? And Spirit's like, talk on this. And I want to point out that 9/11, based on many historians, not all, but many believe this to be the date that Christ started his ministry. So when you're like, what do you mean he started his ministry? Well, if you historically date it, Christ started to collect his team, okay? He was like, okay, I'm ready to do this. Do you want to be a part of it or not? Many people would say no to him. And I think that's what people don't discuss. They're like, oh, well, he had Peter and Luke and Paul, like all these people. Many people said no to the journey. Many people said yes, including Magdalene, things like that. And so Jesus had this way of being where he was guarded in this. He chose accordingly, but he did not fight, right? Like he was like, if you don't want to join me, that's fine, right? We look at Nicodemus, some people that like Jesus tried to say, hey, come with me. And they wouldn't do it. They were too far in their ego. They wouldn't take that leap of faith, even though they knew they wanted to. If you're struggling to like understand this, or maybe you don't know biblical reference, the Chosen series is a great way to kind of see this played out in real time. I love that series. But the point is this, is right now, this is what's occurring. Many of you are at this place. As my cat comes up, you have spirit guides, ancestors, spirit animals. You have people in your life, and it's like this feeling of that alignment is coming into place. But not everybody can go. You do need to be guarded. If you are finding out that they're lying, not being honest, physically abusive, that keeps coming in with a lot of client calls recently. Let me tell you something about physical abuse. If someone is physically abusive in any way, shape, or form, that is a sign they're not taking out their anger is a valid emotion. Violence is not, right? Just like September 11th was a clear indication of that. Like anger is a valid emotion, but violence is not. Bombing, hurting is not. And with the Eight of Pentacles here, it's like you need to put in the hard work to discern. And I want you to think back, some of you a little bit who are older at that time, where were you on September 11th? Because there are some people right now in the collective that are being challenged and activated currently. They have been since COVID, for example. And these could be parents of yours, grandparents. They were supposed to align with a higher frequency at that time, after September 11th. They did not. They did not come back to full faith in the same way. This and that. Yes, strength comes out again. It was all ego. It was all money. It was all this and that. And Empress reverse, they could not find their feminine energy, a disrespect of that, a disrespect of peace. They could not see. They still cannot see. They cannot see. Look at that card. They cannot see. And so you have a choice to make, and many of you are being called to leave certain people behind. It's not easy. It's painful. But I'm telling you right now, if people are physically violent, whether that be bombing someone or physically harming someone, that is a sign they have pent up anger and issues that they have not dealt with privately. So they want to put it on somebody else. And God is saying, no, you do not get to touch others like that. And you do not get to wound others like that. So I know you're tired of these lessons, but this is the thing. You need to keep moving forward. Keep speaking up. Do not let these people run you down. A lot of them prey on weak moments or weak people. And this is where Spirit's like, no. Do not wait on them. Do not hold much compassion right now. I'm not saying you don't care, but I'm saying there's a need to move forward. And I feel like some of you have past family members, past people that, like, if you really think back, that should have been the moment that rattled them into ascension. And it did not for many of them. For some of them, yes. And then COVID should have been a huge moment of inward reflection. The universe basically shut down the entire world to get all of us, the entire world, to go inward and reflect. But people were spooked. No, not me. And even now, they can't do it. So instead of being upset with them, move forward. Okay, move forward. I know you're like, but they have good qualities, this and that. I know, but you got to call judgment here. Spirit's calling judgment. Stop overthinking this. Trust your crown, trust your downloads, trust your dreams. And this will be highlighted for the next 6 months as we just got off that Virgo full moon. By the time we hit that Pisces full moon in Virgo season, you're going to see a lot of differences here. Okay, 9 of Cups. And hold on, I want to look up the date of that. So in September, that'll be September 7th, just so you guys know. Because I feel like September 7th is a big date for you then. But yeah, High Priestess, you need to trust your downloads, surrender those, death here, who are not willing to ascend further or would jeopardize physical harm. That is a clear indication they are not spiritually aligned. I don't care what's going on. I don't care if you think someone's lying, cheating, being mean, whatever this is. If you're spiritually aligned, you release and you detach. You do not force, right? Physical manipulation in that way, whether it be sexual or physical, both are physical, right? Violence is not aligned. And so you need to continue to stay in your lane. But I'm telling you right now, there are some people, especially dating back to that time frame, where instead of dealing with it, the Hierophant, when God was calling on them, they took this aggression out. And for some of you at that time, right around September 11th, if you were in America or maybe somewhere in the world where that was significant for you, you could have had people that suddenly started to physically or sexually harm you in the past. Be aware of that. Be cognizant of that. Connect those dots. Spirit's like, I need you to connect this. They had a choice to make, to follow me, to be committed to the divine and trust, or to go into darkness. And what happens is there's like this 40-day period after darkness, Virgo season, where September 11th occurs, where he started his ministry. Then we move into Libra season, which is justice and balance, right? The duality there, opposite of where we are in Aries season, right? And so that justice and balance, that feeling of being tested, like, oh, if you're aligned with God, you do this or that. And people having made a choice, or they make choices around that time. And then we hit Scorpio season, where the consequences of those choices come to fruition, or the lack of choices. So in Scorpio season, we can see a big rebirth here, or justice being served, or we can see a lot of physical or sexual harm being placed on the collective. So I'm not trying to bring up past wounds, but at the same time, if something occurred shortly after September 11th for you as a child or as an adult or in a marriage or a partnership, where someone suddenly got more violent between 9/11 and like Scorpio season, like we're talking into November 20th or so of that year, reflect. Did you not stand up for yourself? Did you not leave? Is it still the same cycle you're in? Some of you are still in marriages with people like that you knew something should have shifted and it did not. Or you experienced abuse and you're still talking to your abuser or trusting. Guys, do not take these people back. Page of Pentacles. They're pages. It's like you're waiting on them to change. They're not going to change. It was all about money. Maybe they were obsessed with the stock market, money, whatever, parents, whoever. No, they're not safe. They're not safe.